Claire, Tom, Mike, and Lim embarked on an epic journey from the bustling streets of Bangkok to the mysterious depths of the southern countryside. With the wind in their hair and the open road stretching out before them, they were on a mission to meet with a potential client. But this was no ordinary business trip. This was an adventure of a lifetime. As they cruised down the highway in their trusty car, the hours melted away like butter in the hot sun. But they weren't just focused on business. Oh no, they had a pit stop planned at Mike's friend's house, a detour into the realm of the supernatural. You see, this group wasn't your average crew of professionals. They were amateur ghost hunters and thrill seekers with a penchant for the paranormal. Armed with ghost hunting equipment and a love for the eerie, they were always on the lookout for their next haunted encounter. Claire, the mastermind behind their spooky escapades, suggested they find a haunted hotel to stay in for the night. After a quick Google search turned up empty, Mike reached out to his friend Max for advice. And boy, did Max deliver. Max, a man of mystery with a twinkle in his eye, offered up his own rental house, a place with a dark history and a reputation for ghostly occurrences. It was the perfect setting for a night of thrills and chills, and the group eagerly accepted his invitation. As they followed Max's directions into the heart of the countryside, they found themselves surrounded by endless fields of corn, the moon casting an eerie glow over the landscape. Each house they passed seemed to loom in the darkness, isolated and foreboding. Finally, they arrived at their destination, a one-story ranch-style house nestled on 4 acres of land. Built entirely of wood, with a deep well looming ominously in the yard, it looked like something straight out of a horror movie. But instead of feeling fear, the group felt a surge of excitement. Max, true to his word, led them to the doorstep but refused to go any further. With a cryptic warning and a smirk, he bid them farewell and disappeared into the night, leaving the group alone in the darkness. As they stood before the haunted house, anticipation crackling in the air like electricity, they knew that tonight would be a night to remember. With their ghost hunting equipment at the ready and their nerves of steel, they stepped across the threshold and into the unknown. 4 intrepid adventurers, fueled by a mix of excitement and curiosity, decided to fuel up with some snacks before embarking on their exploration of the mysterious house. As they gathered their ghost hunting gear, eager to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within its walls, they were interrupted by a series of loud knocks on the door. Mike, ever the optimist, speculated that their friend Max might have returned for something he forgot. But Claire, the voice of reason in the group, pointed out that they would have heard his car if that were the case. With a nervous laugh, Lim, the youngest of the bunch, volunteered to investigate. Opening the door, Lim was met with silence and darkness, the night air heavy with anticipation. He shrugged off the eerie feeling and returned to help his friends prepare for their ghostly adventure. But just as they settled back into their tasks, the knocks came again, louder and more insistent this time. With a furrowed brow, Lim ventured outside once more, determined to uncover the source of the disturbance. But to his bewilderment, there was nobody to be found. Frustrated and unnerved, he returned to the house, his mind racing with unanswered questions. It was then that Lim made a decision, a bold move that none of his friends could have anticipated. With a sense of determination, he marched over to the deep well near the house and performed a mysterious ritual, his actions shrouded in secrecy. As the night wore on and the tension mounted, Claire couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Sensing her unease, she suggested that they call it a night and retreat to the safety of their beds. Reluctantly, the group agreed, seeking solace in the familiarity of each other's company. But the events of the night were far from over. As morning dawned and the group prepared to face the day ahead, they were met with a startling revelation. Lim, normally the picture of bravery, lay unconscious in his bed, his body unresponsive to their attempts to rouse him. With growing concern, Tom and Mike tried to wake their friend, but Lim remained trapped in a deep slumber, his breathing shallow and erratic. And then, in a sudden and terrifying moment, Lim awoke with a start, his eyes wide with panic as he gasped for air, his words a chilling warning to leave the house at once. Shaken to the core by Lim's distress, the group wasted no time in packing up their belongings and fleeing the haunted house, their hearts heavy with the weight of the unknown. As they returned the keys to Max and drove away, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had narrowly escaped a fate far worse than they could have imagined. As the sun set on another eventful day, the group found themselves facing a dilemma. With limbs still shaken from their harrowing encounter at the haunted house, they were torn between their desire to explore the town further and their concern for their friends' well-being. In the end, they made the difficult decision to cut their trip short and head back to Bangkok after meeting with the client. As they embarked on the long journey home, Lim's unease was palpable, his once jovial demeanor replaced by a haunted expression. Throughout the entire 8-hour drive, he trembled uncontrollably, his words a desperate plea for a reprieve from the unseen forces that tormented him. Claire, Tom, and Mike exchanged worried glances, their curiosity piqued by Lim's cryptic murmurs. But they knew better than to press him for answers, sensing that whatever he had experienced was beyond their comprehension. It wasn't until they arrived back in Bangkok that Lim finally broke his silence, his voice barely above a whisper as he recounted the events of that fateful night. As he spoke, his friends listened in rapt attention, their disbelief mounting with each chilling detail. Lim described how, as they lay in their beds, he was suddenly enveloped by the haunting strains of traditional Thai music, the ethereal melodies echoing through the darkness of the room. Confused and disoriented, he turned to seek reassurance from his companions, only to be confronted by the sight of a shadowy figure looming over him. In that moment, fear gripped him like a vice, his senses overwhelmed by the oppressive presence that filled the room. And then, with a jolt, he was plunged into darkness, his consciousness slipping away as the darkness swallowed him whole. In the days that followed, Lim's absence weighed heavily on the minds of his friends. Despite their best efforts to reach out to him, he remained eerily silent, his whereabouts a mystery that left them feeling powerless and afraid. But just as they began to lose hope, a glimmer of good news broke through the darkness. Their client had agreed to sign the contract, sealing the deal they had worked so hard to secure. Eager to celebrate their success, Claire reached out to Lim in a final attempt to bring him back into the fold. And so, as the clock struck midnight and the celebrations began in earnest, Lim arrived on a motorcycle, his appearance a stark contrast to the vibrant energy of the gathering. With hollow eyes and a haunted expression, he spoke of sleepless nights and relentless torment, his voice a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the threshold of their reality. As the night wore on and the party drew to a close, the group found themselves faced with a chilling reality. The haunting strains of traditional Thai music filled the air, their ethereal melodies weaving through the darkness like a spectral symphony. Lim's earlier warning echoed in their minds, a haunting reminder of the unseen forces that lurked just beyond the threshold of their reality. Claire's heart pounded in her chest as she listened to the eerie music, her mind racing with fear and uncertainty. With a trembling hand, she reached out to wake Tom, only to find him already awake and equally terrified. Without a word, they shared a silent exchange of panic, their eyes wide with dread as they contemplated their next move. In a desperate bid for safety, Claire and Tom made their way to Mike's bedroom, their footsteps barely audible over the haunting melody that filled the night. Claire clung to Tom's back, her eyes squeezed shut in a futile attempt to block out the fear that threatened to consume her. As they entered the room, they were met with a scene of pure terror. Lim sat huddled in a corner, his body racked with sobs as he cried out in anguish. Mike lay sound asleep, oblivious to the nightmare unfolding around him. With trembling hands, Tom shook Mike awake, his voice urgent as he relayed the gravity of the situation. As Mike stirred from his slumber, confusion clouded his features, his eyes widening in shock as he took in the sight before him. Together, the group peered out the window, their hearts pounding in unison as they beheld the horrifying apparition that lurked outside. A woman, her form twisted and contorted, stood before them in the moonlight, her gaze filled with a wrathful intensity that sent shivers down their spines. In the cold light of dawn, the group fled the house, their minds reeling from the horrors they had witnessed. Seeking refuge at a nearby Buddhist temple, they sought the guidance of the head monk, their voices trembling as they recounted their ordeal. But as they approached the temple, they were met with a startling revelation. The head monk's warning rang out like a clarion call, his words a stark reminder of the danger that followed in their wake. As the head monk's piercing gaze fell upon Lim, the weight of his question hung heavy in the air, demanding an answer that Lim was hesitant to give. With the group's eyes fixed upon him, Lim's resolve crumbled under the weight of their collective curiosity, compelling him to confess to his transgressions. In a hushed tone, Lim admitted to his reckless actions, his words laden with guilt as he recounted his ill-fated decision to taunt the spirits that dwelled within the haunted house. But as he spoke, the head monk's solemn expression betrayed a deeper truth, one that sent a chill down Lim's spine. "It's more than just poking the spirits, my son," the head monk intoned gravely. "There's a darkness that lingers within the depths of that well, a darkness that you have unwittingly awakened with your actions." Lim's heart sank as the full extent of his folly became clear. He had trespassed upon sacred ground, desecrating the sanctity of the well with his impulsive act. And now, the vengeful spirit that had been stirred from its slumber sought retribution for the desecration of its resting place. In a desperate bid for answers, the group turned to Max, the owner of the house, hoping to uncover the truth behind the malevolent presence that haunted their nightmares. As Max revealed the grim reality of the house's past, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, painting a portrait of tragedy and loss that sent shivers down their spines. The specter of the murdered couple loomed large in their minds, their spirits restless and unforgiving in the face of the injustice that had befallen them. And now, Lim found himself ensnared in their vengeful grasp, his fate hanging in the balance as he grappled with the consequences of his actions. With the weight of his guilt bearing down upon him, Lim knew that he had to make amends for his mistakes. And so, he heeded the head monk's counsel, embarking on a journey of repentance and redemption as he sought forgiveness for the sins of his past. As Lim embarked on his path toward enlightenment, the echoes of the deceased couple's tragic tale served as a sobering reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of the spirits that dwell beyond the realm of the living. And as he donned the robes of a monk, Lim vowed to honor their memory and seek solace in the serenity of the monastery, his soul forever haunted by the echoes of his past transgressions. Thank you to the viewers for joining us on this journey into the unknown. We hope these bone-chilling ghost encounters have left you with a sense of wonder and a newfound appreciation for the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. Until next time, may you find solace in the realm of the living, and may the spirits of the departed remain at peace.